Hey guys, welcome back to The Interceptor. We're here with another war video, War 4 of Season 34. And I know this is a few days late, but I actually was not at home. I've been away for the last 2.5 days pretty much. So I am going to be caught up by the end of this week because I'm going to put one video out on Monday morning, one video on Tuesday morning, and then War 6 will be out on Thursday morning. So I will be caught up by then. And yeah, we just had an insane thing happen this war. So this has, to my knowledge, or at least that I remember, I've only seen a matchup like this once. Now, if you notice the massive difference between our two alliances, D69, at this point we were like 6th or 7th overall. So like 3rd or 4th in the top 10 bracket. And we matched an alliance that was Plat 3, 2754, which is like 360 lower than us. So I don't know how this happened. I've only ever seen this happen one time. It was last season, and Black matched a 2700 alliance, much like this. I don't know how this happened. It's super weird. I think Kabam just messed up their matchmaking, so stuff like this just happens. But this happens again next war. So we have seen, actually, this war alone, war number 4, we were not the only alliance that this high to match an alliance lower. XK9 had a higher rating than us. They were around 3160, and they matched an alliance that was almost identical in rating to ours. I think they were like 10 higher or something like that. They were like a 2765. So I just don't know how this happens, but Kabam needs to fix it because it's clearly unfair. It doesn't matter how bad we play or how good they play. We have better defense and better offense. We're just going to win. And yeah, let's start off the video. I just wanted to say, like, I think it's really, really dumb that this exists. I think they need to fix this. And it's not, I don't think it's just a random thing that happens. I think it actually is a problem with the matchmaking. I don't think it's a thing where matchmaking is working correctly and then sometimes it doesn't work. I think it's just completely broken. Because personally, to my memory, I've only ever seen this once before this war, ever. I mean, I've seen Mismatch by like 200, but like 350, and you're dropping down like 4 tiers in Alliance War and facing a tier 2 or tier 3 alliance. It's kind of pathetic, and that should not be happening. But we have the team today of Doom, Warlock, and White Magneto, and I will be on the path 3-1. Now, when I originally joined, I thought I was 1-1 because the champs kind of lined up for me to take those fights, but it turns out I'm on 3-1, which doesn't really matter, but like I had to reread it before I realized I was on path 3, which makes sense because like Doom is a great option for this Thor. And I actually am able to get revenge against one of the fights that I died to in War 2, the Manthing on node 20. And this time I have a completely different strategy. So we are going to be using Mystic damage boosts, but not power back boosts. And this one has return policy, static defense. This is a really straightforward fight. Basically just throw L1 and L2 and not really worry about much else. This Thor is going to be pretty nice. He throws specials pretty much instantly, which doesn't actually make the fight easier. It just makes it faster. I would have just, baited it out. But yeah, these armor breaks take these armor ups take a long time to expire. So I just have to be conscious of all of those of the return policy, excuse me. Not all of those. I have to be conscious of the return policy when I throw my L1 so that I make sure I don't send him to L3. But even if he did, I'm immune to armor break and I'm immune to shock. So like I'd really only take the damage from the L3. But yeah, basically I just want to just throw L2s, and I'm pretty sure he just dies after this L2. I'm going to do a 5-hit combo into an L2. Yeah. So he's dead. But you know, it was okay. I see the logic behind putting Thor Ragnarok there at the very least. And this fight, God, was I happy about how this fight went. Oh my God. I loved this fight. This is the cleanest fight against this Man-Thing since the new global. Now, of course, with the new global comes new complications. Previously, it was that he would go unstoppable all the time, unstoppable all the time from getting the armor ups or his unstoppable. But now the complication is that if you get nullified, you miss. So basically, you just want to never get nullified. So there I did actually have a buff expire, and I didn't really notice, but it didn't matter. And the strategy that I have for this fight is that I'm just going to spam L1 and L2 alternating and just never let him throw any special. I'm never going to let him throw any special attack in this entire fight. So there, luckily, he goes for a heavy attack, so I'm able to go straight into L2. I'm about to nullify his armor up as well, so I'm going to be able to throw my L1. And that's pretty much the cycle, is just go L1, L2. If you throw your L1 and you get like 2.9 bars, and then when you throw your other L2, you get more, and you can like go up to another L2. It's fine to throw 2 L2s in a row, as long as, of course, you're paying attention to his power bar. So this does have masochism, but when I was looking at the numbers of a rank 4 Doom versus a rank 3 Man-Thing, you very easily, like very, very easily outdamage it. So that's what I was kind of going for here, and it actually worked beautifully. 1 minute and 15 seconds for a fight that took 2 minutes, and I died to last war because I was going for L3s. So L3s is just not the way to go. This fight's kind of funny. I was not assigned this fight. It was assigned to a Void with Mr. Fantastic Petrify debuff, which makes sense because that is probably who you should use. Personally, I think Magic's a little better for this fight, but Void is completely it makes sense. But the guy who is taking this fight with Void, who was assigned it, he didn't have any other fights to boost for, and I needed to fight then because I was leaving. I don't know if I was leaving, but like I needed to clear for other people. And also, the guy applying the Mr. Fantastic pre-fight was nowhere to be seen. He had gone to sleep already. So I went in here with Doom. Now, I am very experienced with using Doom against Power Snack. Basically, what you want to do is you just want to let him eat the Fury and just ignore it because it doesn't really matter. I'd argue that it kind of helps in this fight, and the reason it kind of helps is because if you are not quite able to push Doom to a special 2 before you throw your special 3, the L3, both from Power Snack Power Gain and Mystic Dispersion Power Gain, is actually going to send him to an L3. So he gets the power from A, Power Snack, B, Mystic Dispersion, and C from your special 3. So from those 3 sources, plus the power he already has, he just has to get to an L3. So it basically just eliminates all the complications of that. So as long as you're fighting a Mystic that does not have anything that will like go on you when you nullify, such as Dormammu with the degen or Man-Thing with the poison, as long as neither of those things happen, it's actually beneficial to have your buff being nullified because it kind of makes it like you're I think the best way to say it is you're given a little more breathing room. So while I am aware that this fight is going to take a while, I would rather do that than wait for the guy to wake up. And also I know that against Doom, you are not able to do your normal cycle of medium, light, medium, medium, L1, parry, medium, light, heavy. Doesn't get you to an L3 because there's no shock, so you can't heavy. So what I do is I just stop after the second light attack, and I just block, and as soon as he hits into my block and throws a heavy or I land a reparry, I am then able to just finish another combo. And while that combo does always lead with him getting less power and he will always be under an L2, what I mentioned earlier with the power snack and the Mystic Dispersion eliminates that. So it's kind of like Doom being shock immune creates a problem, but also the fact that he's a Mystic negates that problem. So they kind of cancel each other out. So it's actually a pretty good fight for Doom. Now, I did take a lot of block damage, but that's kind of just what you got to do with his super high attack rating. But that's completely fine because, again, this was about timing and how we were not able to use Void at that moment. And this is another fight that was not assigned to me. This was assigned to a Quake. This is Annihilus on Mixmaster. But again, Annihilus is just a joke of a champion. So I threw an L1. I threw on an L1 boost here. I was looking to land the initial parry, and my plan was that if my first parry didn't land, I wasn't gonna bother just trying again and just waiting till I could land the parry. What I was gonna do is I was just gonna throw that L2, nullify the rod, nullify the fury buffs, and that would just get me pretty much. It would just allow me to parry. And then here I'm just taking advantage of Mystic Dispersion plus taking a 5-hit combo to the face. Just going to throw this L1. And that L1 took long enough that I no longer have those effects on myself for Annihilus to go unstoppable, but it did actually negate some of the damage I took from that combo. So here I'm going to throw another L1. And the strategy is basically just alternate L1s, L2s. There is actually a combo for Mixmaster with Dr. Doom that works. You can do medium, light, medium, light, medium, light, medium, and throw an L1. And it actually has him land at an L3 when you throw the L1, so you do get back to your L2. The reason that combo is not usually used is because it doesn't do as much damage, and it takes the same amount of time due to medium attacks taking longer than light attacks. But it is actually a fun thing. I actually learned that while going through Act content. I just kept experimenting with a bunch of combos. I found one that worked. I tested it out in War in an off-season once, and it actually does work perfectly. So this fight was actually pretty funny. This is Warlock versus Havok. I knew we didn't have to check for willpower because literally no one leaves it off at this tier of War. So I threw on the tech power back boost, and I'm basically just going to take extra block damage, land my reparries, and burn this guy down. Turns out I was supposed to use a white Magneto pre-fight on this to make it a little faster. It didn't end up mattering because he never even got to his 10 block hits to go unblockable, because of course he doesn't go unblockable until the one after the 10th. But yeah, it just the guy that was assigning it, he mentioned in the Havok fight notes that I was supposed to use white mags. But at the bottom of the list where he lists all pre-fights for every single person, it says that I was to use my other white Magneto pre-fight somewhere else. So I guess he just changed one and didn't fix it on both ones, which didn't end up mattering because obviously I just had an extra white mags pre-fight. And that fight was a joke. But that was my section 1, and now we're going to get back to our section 2, and for this one I'm only using 10% boosts. I only used 20% for the other one because I wasn't sure how easily I would outdamage that Manthing, and I just wanted to boost a little bigger, whereas I would normally use 10% for section 1. But this is path 1, section 1. This is Gladiator Hulk. And this has the node where if you dash back twice, you get a regen. But of course it's Warlock, so actually it's not a regen, it's just that you power drain. But I just don't really want to worry about dashing back twice, so what I do is I just dash back, and then if he throws the L1, I just parry it. And yeah, no tech power back boost here, but Warlock hits pretty hard, so I don't really have to worry about that. Would have been a lot faster if I did use them, but you'll see why I wanted to use the Mystic power back boosts later. And then there he actually triggers his personal regen, which was pretty funny. So he got like a second source, like right there, you see that, his personal regen, and that's just draining his power. the entire time, which is super cool. But yeah, another 49-second fight. I didn't turn on Suicides this war because most of my fights were Doom fights, and that would have been stupid. But this is the only fight I was like mildly worried about, but I'm pretty good at fighting Sersi. I know how to fight her. So this is Sersi on buffet, and of course you don't want to go for your L3 here, but basically what I want to do is I just want to get to L2 and throw it. So I want to make sure that I have a stagger up right here. That was probably in hindsight a bad thing to do, to throw that, but I get back to my L2 right away. So what I probably should have done there is, instead of chaining that special that combo medium light medium, instead of chaining that into an L1, I should have chained it into a heavy attack and then just thrown my L2. That would have been a lot better. And then right here, unfortunately, I have to parry and throw my L3. So that is going to get nullified, and she is going to heal, but it is faster than just not throwing the special for the rest of the fight, because I am then able to get to another special. So I'm going to Doom combo her here, or do another Doom cycle here, and the Mystic Power Boosts were actually enough for me to get back to my L3, or excuse me, my L2 from that L3. So another minute fight, and I was pretty happy with that, and that's actually my last fight of the war. So a pretty quick war for me, although I did have 7 fights. I took 1, 2, 3, 4 mini bosses in a row, actually. 20, 22, 23, 24. And we won. We won this war by 100. We won by 100. Yeah, we were expecting it to be something like this. I mean, I am extremely glad. I'm extremely glad that this didn't ruin their season, because I have personally been in the I've been sort of in their shoes. Like, it wasn't a 400 or 350 difference, but I've been in a situation where I was in like a Plat 1 alliance before this was when I was in Elite, and we matched a Masters alliance, but it was like we were nowhere near that level at the time. We were just barely scraping the bottom of Platinum 1, usually ending in Platinum 2, and we actually didn't clear because the defense was too tough for us. We didn't clear one of our bosses, and it pretty much ruined our season, because that the amount of points we lost was like 2.5 losses instead of 1, and it ruined our season. So despite the fact that like they didn't do great, obviously they died 105 times, I'm extremely glad that they were able to clear, because obviously this was not on purpose. There's literally no way to choose your matchup. We just signed up for war like normal, and unfortunately we matched up against these guys. Now, is it nice to get a win? Yes. Obviously. It's nice to win. It's just I hate the way that we won, because it just looks bad. I would rather lose to GT40 or lose to anyone and put up a good match than win a stupid war like this. It doesn't feel good. Everyone looks down on you for it, but like, there's nothing you can do, right? It just happens, and I don't know. We had a lot of talk about it in other chats. People were roasting D69, but like, there's nothing we can do. We need to get Kabam to fix this, right? We can't, as a 31-15 alliance, choose to match a tier 3 alliance. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. That's not the way it works. And I hate it. I hate it. Obviously, this is not fair. We should not be matching alliances that are like this, nowhere near our level. And it just sucks. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just something that exists. And fortunately, these guys from the Legend Founders, they actually made a forum post that we saw, and a couple of us commented on it, saying, yeah, this is ridiculous that this matchup happened. And they did actually talk in Warm chat, and they're like, this is kind of an unfair matchup, but they weren't like blaming us for it. They were blaming Kabam. They said like, Kabam is stupid for this matchup, which is the correct thing to do. I mean, you can't blame us. Literally anyone that is this high in Alliance War could have gotten, well, sort of unlucky. I think unlucky is the word to use in this case. Could have gotten unlucky and gotten a match like this, and it just looks bad. You can't make this happen on purpose. It just happens, and it looks bad on us. So we win. We're 4-0. And I did not take a screenshot. And now, of course, the leaderboard's changed because War 5 ended an hour and a half ago. But we were in 4th at the end of this war, which means we were in 1st place in the top 10 Masters bracket, which has 7 alliances in it. But yeah, it just sucks for TLF20. I mean, I hope you guys, like I said, I'm really glad this didn't ruin your season. We're now 4-0. 1 death total on the season, which was that Manthing, and I'm really happy that I got revenge with such a clean fight this war. My PSR is at 25 out of 26, which is like 96.1% or something like that. My Deathless streak is up to 17. So that is actually going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it was a little bit of a longer war video, but I had a lot to say because this is garbage. We do not want these matchups. These matchups should not be happening. Please fix this. This is stupid. So yeah, that's going to be it. Hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you all later. Bye.